Oi oi, alright, how's it going? I'm Grant, you're you, this is Doodle Review. Today we're kicking off a new series and it's called Soundbites. Now, if you're new to this channel, I pretty much crank out an in-depth review every single day. However, believe it or not, there are actually other albums that I'm checking out that the schedule just doesn't really allow me to write War and Peace for. So in this series, we're going to smash out some quick fire reviews of a bunch of albums that I've taken a look at in recent months. These aren't going to get like full ratings, we'll just give them a bad, a mid, cool, or a great. We're going to start things off with Kurt Vile, Back to Moon Beach. This one snuck out towards the end of last year. For some reason billed as an EP, although it's very much the length of a full album. I've never been a huge fan of Kurt Vile. There are some songs from his back catalogue that I find interesting, but for the most part I find the plodding, repetitive, long songs about as enjoyable as speaking to someone who's high as balls when you're completely sober. There were a couple of moments I didn't mind, like the title track in which Vile seems to be having a lot of fun, ad-libbing and affecting different voices, or Passenger Side with its snarky, funny lyrics, but it turns out that one's actually a Wilco cover. Otherwise, I just found this to be another stubbornly slow folk rock album with songs that sound like previous chord progressions the artist has used before, like on Touch Something. Not for me, this one. I'm going to put it as bad. Okay, looking at Nothing and Full of Hell, When No Bird Sang. This is a collaborative album bringing together the world of shoegaze in the band Nothing and grindcore coming from Full of Hell. It kicks off with Rose Tinted World, which includes some pretty violent explosions of guitar and guttural screaming. As it progresses, the midsection features these recordings of what sound like news reports over the top of these atmospheric and pensive sounds, and that's pretty cool. And the static noise continues to build and build, and the noise with the double pedal is huge, but honestly from here it's all a bit of a blur. I think if you like post-rock and ambient, drone or doom metal, you're probably going to enjoy this, but for me, I don't have anything against it necessarily. There's just not a lot that I find particularly engaging. When No Bird Sang, the title track, was a highlight, and I enjoyed the riff on the closer Spend the Grace, but even then, all the heavy songs to me are pretty similar, using kind of samey riffs. It's mid for me. Kamaiyah, Another Summer Night. It's the fourth official full-length album from Oakland, California rapper Kamaiyah. Hi-fi is the genre typically associated with her. It has a bouncy, high-energy feel that utilises crisp, clean electronic sounds like 808s and 909s and big bass synths. It's really fun, but it kind of reminds me of other regional subgenres of hip-hop, like say bounce music from New Orleans, where the parameters of the sound are so narrow that it can leave artists with little space to go. And at this point in Kamaiyah's career, at now 4 albums and multiple mixtapes, I feel like Another Summer Night just feels a bit tired. It feels like there's an attempt to try some different things within the sound by introducing a kind of reflective or melancholy tone, and sometimes it works, like Every Friday, and other times it just falls a bit flat, like No Pape. There are a couple of classic Kamaiyah bangers like Take a Sip, but yeah, overall just feeling a bit lukewarm on this album. I'm going to give it a mid. Okay, next I'm going to talk about the Rare Blood group. This is a British group from Leeds. In fact, I believe its music is actually created and recorded by just one guy named James Atkinson, and if you heard these tracks when you were at a party, you just assume these are some forgotten Motown or soul bangers from yesteryear. So authentic are the tracks. The songs are piano, bass guitar, a lot of falsetto vocals and punchy drums with tons of catchy singable choruses. Over the course of the album it all blurs together a little bit, just because while great, everything is so sort of consistent. It would be nice to break things up a bit. In fact, the album actually ends with an instrumental, which I think would have been cooler to kind of place earlier in the record just to add some dynamism early on. But overall though, this is really fun, dance in the kitchen type stuff. It's cool. And then we're going to talk about Pyramid, the 2 EP. I've recently been trying to catch up on the records put out by our friends over at Buddyhead Records over the last couple of years, and this little EP has really stood out. Recorded direct to tape, this little collection feels like a set of buried tracks from the 60s. It's got that spooky old school rock and roll thing going for it. If you like Black Clips, if you like the Cramps, maybe even if you like King Cruel, you should give this a look. It's pretty cool. The Cauterizers. Bender Ender. Speaking of Buddyhead Records, this is a gem they dropped a little more recently. The Cauterizers are good old-fashioned instrumental surf rock. If you're one of those people that always try and describe the sort of vibe you're after but don't really know the name for the music and just use the Pulp Fiction soundtrack as a proxy descriptor, there's no shame, no shade, but the genre you might be after is called surf rock or just surf, and you could do a lot worse making Bender Ender your first stop on your newfound musical adventure into that genre. This is 9 solid instrumental surf rock slappers. Get into it, it's great. The last one I'm going to talk about is Skinhead. Everything Was Beautiful and Nothing Hurt. I don't know a huge amount about this band or this EP or album, whatever it is, but I like it. To those who not normally into punk stuff, just by the band name and the front cover, this might seem like it's the most abrasive, violent, grimy music you can get. Nothing wrong with that to me, but to be honest, while this is aesthetically and to an extent musically pursuing a whole oi band thing, there's actually a surprising amount of emotion in the chord progressions used, even while traveling at like 100 miles an hour. Some of it reminds me of Fucked Up, especially tracks like NKOTB. The songs are fast, instrumentally interesting, lyrically amusing, and just all-round entertaining. Check it out, this one is great. That's that. If you have heard any of these, give me a shout, man. I want to hear what you think. You know, I'm always interested to hear feedback, and if you haven't given one of them a go, go on, have a look, come back, let me know what you think. Subscribe, share some thoughts, show some love, or just howl some abuse in the comments, and I'll see you in the next video. Cheers, mate. Bye.